Alright, fun topic today, guys. We're going to be doing the top 10 most iconic amen patterns in jungle music history. Some of these patterns come from some huge classics, so shouts out to the jungle music originators. The idea here is to understand how to resequence the amen and then take that knowledge to create your own patterns. And if you don't know already, my name is Souljah and my mission is to help you succeed in music production. If you love drum and bass and dance music, then this channel is for you. And of course, all of today's patterns and MIDI files, as well as the amen break, can be downloaded down in the link below. All I ask of you is to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, there's many more amen patterns out there, so comment down below and let me know what other patterns you'd like to see in a future video. As well, if you're a beginner to music production, then make sure you take my Ableton Essential Exercises. I have 4 series of classes where I take you through the basics of drum programming and writing bass lines. It's available on Skillshare down in the links below. And if you sign up today, you'll get 1 month free of their free trial. Alright, without further ado, let's get right into it. So before we begin, it's important to get to know the different parts of the original amen break. So the amen break, the original drum roll, is a 4-part pattern. Essentially, it's a drum loop with a little drum variation at the very last bar and a half, indicated by this section here. And actually, this section of the amen is the most used because there are some unique hits here. For example, in this section, you get a full kick and a ride cymbal, which you don't get anywhere else. As well, at the very end, you get this crash followed by a snare, which makes this section very unique. So what I've done here is I took that last part and I split it into different sections indicated by the number 1, 2, and 3, as well as the corresponding colors. So 1, we have the kick. And then 2, we have a snare shuffle followed by a snare shuffle. And then you have the crash followed by a snare. So we're going to be using these 3 sections, copying and resequencing it to create our 10 most iconic amen patterns. I could have done this exercise using MIDI, but I just thought it'd be a little more visual to show you the actual parts of the amen in audio format. However, if you guys enjoy sequencing breaks using MIDI, hopefully you guys can translate what you see here into MIDI notes. I usually sequence my breaks in MIDI as well, but having a more visual format in this video will help you identify the different sections that are being used and resequenced. By the way, if you're interested in using these patterns, I've included all the MIDI files as well as the audio clips down in the link below. So get ready, guys. Alright, so the first pattern we're going to do is Souljah's Fade to Black. And for those that don't know, Souljah is also known as Lemon D, legend in the drum and bass world. And this pattern is actually used widely in drum and bass, so it's a pattern you should definitely get to know. It's been used by Dillinger in tracks like Acid Track. It's very simple to do. All we take is section 1 and 2 and loop it. Now we're going to duplicate this section. Now the unique thing about Fade to Black is that he pitches the amen down every other bar. So we're going to just pitch this down a couple semitones, and then we're just going to duplicate this section, and let's check it out. And let's hear this in context with some bass. Oh yeah, jungle. Alright, moving up the difficulty level, we're now going to be doing the Terrorist pattern by Renegade. So this pattern is pretty easy to make. We take this entire section and we're going to loop it twice in this 4-bar pattern here. And then at the very end, we're going to fill it with 2 kicks like that. And then we're going to take the snare here and fill it here, and then add it here, and then we're going to add 1 kick here like that. And this kick, we're just going to lower the volume by, let's say, -4 dB, so it kind of sprouts up like that. All right, let's hear it with the bass. Big up all the junglists. All right, next up, we're going to do one of my personal favorites, DJ SS's Black. All right, to do this pattern, we're going to take this kick, duplicate it twice, and then we're going to take just the first part of the snare here. So we have this. And then we're going to be doing a step-up pattern by copying this section here with the kick and snare, duplicating it twice, and then we can extend this section like that. And then we're going to duplicate this section. Then we're going to take one of these rides here and then fill the section here and here. So it's like that. And then this very last bar, we're going to remove this little roll here. Just keep one of them. And then we're going to add a little kick roll at the end of the first two bars. So we're going to take this little section here, just paste it here. And we can actually cut this a little, make it a little more stuttery. And finally, one little change here. We're going to move the snare up here and then extend the section here. Now check it out. Now we're going to take this entire 4-bar pattern, duplicate it once, and then we're going to make a little change up here on the very last 2 bars. Take this entire sequence like before, and then copy 2 kicks at the end, and we're going to add a snare to fill the gap here, like that. So now we have this. Let's hear it with the bass. All right, guys, you got to raise up your lighter for that one. All right, the next pattern is more of a modern hit. It's Dimensions UK. Now, he doesn't actually use an amen in his track. He uses more of a helicopter or Paris break. However, I have seen other tracks that subsequently use the same pattern, but with other breaks, such as the amen. So I thought it'd be useful to go through this pattern, and it's very easy to do. All we do is take a kick here, and then take the snare section here, then duplicate it across until the end of the second bar, and that's the pattern. We can just duplicate it to fill up the rest of the pattern, and this is what we have. And let's hear it with the bass. Easy peasy. All right, moving up the difficulty level, we're now into level 2 territory with more complex patterns. And this one's a popular one. You got it. It's Majik's Your Sound. And to do this pattern, all we do is take the kick, duplicate it 3 more times. And then we take the crash, number 3, duplicate it 3 times again. So we have this. And then we're going to take the first snare shuffle pattern of number 2 and duplicate this 3 times. And then this 4th time, we're going to duplicate it 1 more time and then stretch it across like that. Now, just one little alteration. We're going to take this kick and fill the section here like that. Now let's check it out. Let's hear it with the bass. Your sound. Hey, if you want to support me, you can grab a number of my products. I have a gnarly serum preset pack with with over 150 bass melting bass presets, as well as some Ableton project files to jumpstart your next idea. But if you're not ready yet, you can pick up my free Serum preset pack and my free sample pack. For more information, check the links down below. Alright, next one is a legendary track. It's Shy FX and UK Apache's original Nuttah. Alright, to create the original Nuttah pattern, we're actually going to take the second snare and shuffle pattern of number 2. So this section here, drag it down, and then we're going to duplicate it across until the end of the second bar. So like that, get rid of that section there. Now we can duplicate it to fill up the entire section. Now he just adds some double snares at certain sections. So I'm going to take this snare and then drag it across like that. I'm going to color it blue so you can see the double snare. And then he takes this part out, shifts this one over, and then adds another double snare here. And then this section is replaced by a double snare. So we can just take this section here, just drag it over like that. And let's hear it with the bass. Yo, rude boys and rude girls, light it up. Alright, next one is another one of my personal favorites. It's Breakage's Here Comes the Drums remix on Reinforced Records. Shouts out to all the old school Amen crew. And this one, what we do is we have 2 kicks like that. And then we take 2 snare sections like this. And then we just duplicate this section here. We add a kick here. And then we take this entire section. And then we're going to duplicate it like that. And this second phrase, we're going to take this snare, move it across like that, duplicate this twice like that. Oh, one more thing. We're going to take this kick and we're going to pitch this down by a couple semitones. So we have this. All right, let's hear it with the bass. Oh, yeah. All right, this next one is a monster in the Amen world. It's a classic. It's Splash's Babylon. All right, so throughout the track in Babylon, there is a number of different Amen patterns, but we're going to focus on the first 4 bars of the drop because I think that's the most iconic part of the pattern. That's the sequence that most people remember. And to do that pattern, we're going to take the kick and we're going to take this snare, duplicate it 3 times, and then we're going to take the kick snare pattern here and drop it in like that. And then we're going to take that kick snare pattern again, like that, duplicate the snare and stretch it across like that. So that's the pattern, and we're going to duplicate this across to fill the end of the pattern. Now this last section here is going to be replaced with a snare roll, and we're going to take this piece of the snare and just duplicate it across like that. So let's check it out. Now if you want to finesse that drum roll a little bit, you can automate the volume a little bit like that. Oh yeah, big it up. All right, up to level 3. This is where we get more difficult with more complex patterns, a few different tricks such as reversing snares, as well as using time stretching for certain patterns. So the next one we're going to do is a Raga Jungle classic. It's Remarc's RIP. All right, to do this pattern, first we're going to take the kick and then take the snare, duplicate it 3 more times like that, and then stretch the last one out like that. And this snare here, we're going to reverse it. So go into the audio editor, click this button, reverse the snare, color this yellow so we remember. Now that's the first bar of the sequence. There's 3 more bars of the sequence. Okay, so take the kick again. And then we're going to be taking the number 2 section up to this here. And we're going to be pulling this to the end of the second bar like that. Then we're going to take this snare, duplicate it twice. This one just has a different tonality. And then we're going to reverse it. All right, so far so good. Let's keep going. All right, the next bar is a little more complicated. We're just going to be taking 3 parts of the kick here like that. And then we're going to fill this in with a reverse snare like that. Now we're just going to leave a space here for now, add another reverse snare here. And we're going to be taking the middle of 2 sequence here like that. And then we're going to be filling the empty space with the ride symbol from number 1. So drag this here, and then we're going to drag this here. Now the difference with this section here is we're going to make a stutter of the ride symbol. So zoom right in. Now we're going to be taking the middle of the ride, like this section here, copy it across and duplicate it like that. Okay, check out what we got. And then the very last bar, we're going to fill it with 2 kicks and then a snare roll like this. And we're going to zoom right in, take the snare like that, like that. Okay, so now let's listen to what we got. Now he just repeats this 4-bar pattern, adds a little variation on the end with a double snare like that. Okay, now let's listen to the whole thing with the bass. Going out to all the junglists. All right, on to the final pattern. This is the holy grail of Amen tracks. This goes out to all the choppage heads out there. We're going to be doing Breakage's remix of Acid Rain. Now we're just going to be doing the first 4 bars of the drop. Again, the track goes a little more complex with various patterns throughout the track, but we're just going to be focusing on the first 4 bars, which I think is the most iconic part of the track. So to start, let's take the kick and snare of this section here, and then duplicate it, and we're going to duplicate the snare across like that. Okay, all right, and then the next bar, take the kick, and then we're going to take the second part of number 2 as well as the crash, pull it over like this, and then fill this section with the snare. Okay, next section we have a double snare like that. We're just going to take this section here and then take another snare like that. Then we have a kick. Then we have the snare again, like that. And then we're just going to take the second bar and fill it in like that. So this is the pattern. Now I've taken the break and I've highlighted certain sections red as well as hot pink. Those sections we're going to be replacing with time stretched snares. And this is what gives Acid Rain that distinct sound. So to create the time stretched snares, I'm pulling in a single hit of the snare into this Apache app. Now I've done a full video using Apache, so if you haven't seen that video yet, then make sure you check it out in the link below where I show you how to use this. But basically I'm using the settings here and creating this snare. And then I'm saving this file and importing it into Ableton. Just so you can see things more clearly, I moved the snares down to the second lane and this time stretched kick down on this bottom lane. Now I haven't replaced it yet, so it still has the same snares and it's the same pattern. Now we're going to replace it with the time stretched snares. So here's the snare. Now I'm going to be pitching it up by 9 semitones. And then we're just going to be shortening this snare a little like that. I can add a bit of a fade. And then simply take this and replace each snare here. Now this one, we're going to have to take this piece here. Now I'm leaving a little bit of a trail here. It sounds more natural this way. Okay, let's hear it so far. Now this slice here, I'm just going to stretch it, fade out like that. And I'm going to be pitching it up by 1 octave. And this last one, I'm going to be pitching it down. And then I'm going to be replacing these two hot pink kicks with some time stretched kicks. And let's check out the pattern. And then put on the bass. Oh yeah, where are all the chop pitch heads at? Alright, so those were the top 10 most iconic Amen patterns. There are definitely more, so I may do a part 2 where I do 10 more patterns, but to me, these are some of the most popular Amen tracks out there. And I think if you learn these patterns, this will help you become a better jungle producer. And as you can see, all it is learning how to use that very last phrase of the Amen and resequencing each part. So get to know these patterns, practice it, and you're on your way to becoming a serious junglist. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed watching my process on recreating some of the most iconic Amen patterns in jungle history. Learn these patterns intricately and you'll be on your way to becoming an Amen master. And remember, these are only 10 of some of the most iconic patterns out there. If you want to learn other patterns, comment down below and let me know what you want to learn. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, keep practicing, and I'll see you at the next video.